Hey, okay. How many people want Jason Kelce back? How many people want Kelce back for the 2024 season? By the way, I think it's 50-50. Maybe leaning more towards he's not. Okay? Love Kelce. Time to move on. To what? Cam Jurgens? So you're going to – hey, wait a minute. Matt. So you got a brand new coordinator coming in, a quarterback who struggled in the blitz, right? Your run game wasn't very good, and the tush-push goes away, and you want to put Cam Jurgens – you think Cam Jurgens is just going to seamlessly transition into being Jason Kelce? The most important position you can make the argument on in offensive line in today's NFL is the center position. The most value position is the left tackle position. I'm going to make a comment to you here. I'd rather move on from Lane Johnson than Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce does more. Sets the blocking protection. He sets the blitz protection. Tush push. You don't really think Lane Johnson's more valuable than Jason Kelce. Where would you think that? Every single great quarterback in today's NFL has an all-pro center. Linderbaum in Baltimore. Ragnow, Detroit. 49ers have one. And the guy who just won a Super Bowl has Creed Humphrey. You think there's any coincidence to that? You think there's any coincidence to that? All those guys are Pro Bowls. They're all Pro Bowlers. One of them's a Hall of Famer. Kelce, you got him in the building, and he's the best at it. And you want him to now come back because he may. If Jason Kelce was 27 years old instead of 36 or 37, whatever he is, he'd make $50 million. He'd make $25 million. $10 million is a bargain for one of the best linemen in the game today. He makes $10 million, drop in the bucket. Drop in the bucket. Time to move on to who? Cam Jurgens? If you move on to Cam Jurgens and Jason Kelce is not your center, Jalen Hurts' ability and chances of having a good year have gone down dramatically. If Kelce's not in there and you got a new coordinator and you don't have the running back situation figured out, you don't have the right guard situation figured out, you got new play callers in the building, you ain't making the playoffs. You ain't making the playoffs. That means almost the entire right side will be out. Center, guard. And I'm not going like this, like many of you will. Well, Cam will do a great job at center. Until I see that, playing the center position is one of the most difficult positions in pro football to play. I want to see that. I'm not moving Dickerson over to center. Dickerson would not. If I were Landon Dickerson, I'm not moving to center. I'm going to get what the guy in Indianapolis is getting right now, and I'm going to make $20+ million as one of the top 3 paid offensive guards in pro football. Okay? Seals, I remember that block that Kelce made in that Buffalo game. He was awesome. Dude, you know what's awesome about this guy? And by the way, if he goes away, the tush push goes away. That thing goes. Yeah, but Chris, why wouldn't Landon Dickerson want to go and play center for you? Chris, why wouldn't he want to do that when now he's established himself over at the left guard position in the league? That's right, Wake. That's exactly correct. Chris, you're not going to get – it's like playing tight end in today's NFL. Chris, playing tight end in today's NFL, they're not paid as wide receivers are, right? centers aren't paid like guards and tackles. It's the lowest paid position when it comes to the tag of any position in the O-line. Why would I go play a lesser position when it comes to pay? Do you believe in Stoutland because at some point, guys got to retire? I think that Jason Kelce is going to be a guy who's going to be brought into the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think he's going to be his understudy. And I think Jason Kelce is going to battle between being in broadcasting or being the heir apparent offensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think those are the things that he's contemplating and debating and what he wants to do. Because a lot of players do that. Do you want to get into coaching or do you want to get into broadcasting? And he's going to have to make that because, again, after all these years, I had numerous opportunities to get into scouting, player personnel departments, into coaching. I could have coached numerous college football teams. I had a pro job waiting for me, and I turned them down. I was offered a job by the Raiders to work with Ken Herrick in the scouting department in Oakland. That's why the Raiders and I are friends to this day. Al Davis offered me a job. He goes, "Come on in. And Al Davis and Ken Herrick and Ron Wolf were going to teach me personnel." And I would go in there with those guys a lot. And I sat in there with them. And of course, I was with Jimmy for a couple times. All right. And he needs to leave him because it's, yeah, probably so. You saw Kelce's documentary. I feel bad for him because the toll of the game, a guy like that. Here, let me just put this to you, Jeff. Mike Webster was drinking bleach at the end of his life in a car, and he was living in a car because of his mood swings. And he was drinking bleach to try to kill himself, and he eventually did. And yeah, and it came back that he took over 165,000 hits to the head playing center. And it's told that it took on him. He was a shell of a man. He lived in his car under a bridge. His wife and his kid would go see him. I've talked to his kid, follows me on Facebook. We have great conversations. And, he killed himself under a bridge by himself in a car because he didn't know who he was, where he was, and the toll the game took on him. He drank bleach. Friend of mine, Terry Long. You guys remember the name Terry Long? You guys remember Terry Long? We did powerlifting contests together. I played against him in college too, and in the pros. You guys remember Terry Long? Name sound familiar? He's a Pittsburgh Steeler. He was 5'11". And boy, I'll tell you, man, he was a bitch. He was a very good ball player, man. He was an absolutely great road grader. One of the shortest dudes I've ever seen. And we used to go around doing powerlifting contests together. And he also did the same thing. He committed suicide because CTE had gotten a hold of him too. And yeah. So I understand what Jason Kelce's talking about. Toll of the game's terrible, man. It takes its toll on you. But remember something with these players. The last thing to leave is your heart. You love it. You just love the game so much. Sills, what's your move if Kelce retires? Got to put Juergens over there. I'm with you. Cosmo, it's not going to be the same, though. And Cosmo, the reason you have to put Cam Juergens over there, hey, that's why. Here's what's going to happen. If Kelce tells them at the combines he's retiring, that means you're drafting an offensive lineman at 22. Okay? That means you're drafting a lineman at 22. Okay? Hey, Callie, that's what it was. Is you're right. It wasn't bleach. You're right. It was antifreeze. Callie's right. It was antifreeze. Mm. Talk to Andre Waters. Here, I'll tell you this. Do you want to hear the Andre Waters story? I haven't told it to you because it's kind of, you guys had a guy in your team. Tom, what was your name? He killed himself in Tampa. Played with me in Maryland, and we were teammates with the Bucks. Ugh. He transferred to Colgate after because we both transferred because we hated the D-line coach. But I think he played in Philly. Tom McHale. This happened in a 3-year period. You guys want to hear the Andre Waters? This shit's crazy. So this is why I know the CTE stuff. And you know why I don't mind telling you some of these stories? Because the NFL won't do anything about it. So when they talk about player safety, I want you guys to know they don't care. They don't care when it comes to player safety. Okay? Tom McHale had just bought a chop house in Tampa, and I know him a long time. Like I said, we were 19 years old in Maryland. Before I transferred to Miami, he went to Colgate. And he played a long time in the NFL, man. He was like a backup. He was a defensive lineman with me at Maryland, but then he turned into an offensive lineman. He played for the Eagles. And I saw him the day before, and his wife called me. Dan, you were with Tom yesterday. You go, yeah, I just talked to him like 5 hours ago. He goes, do you know where he is? I go, no. She goes, okay, well, we can't find him. I'm like, okay. And she's like, I think something's wrong. And I was like, okay, I'll go look for him. My wife's with me. We went looking for him. Killed himself. I was just with him. I was the last person with him. I was like, Andre Waters, same thing. Had a conversation. We had lunch. And a week later, and it just, a game does. So when Jason Kelce talks like this about the game, just because sometimes you see these guys happy, a lot of the things inside, man, it's not what it is. Don't believe what you see on the outside. That game takes its toll on you. Look, I played 7 years of pro ball. And as LJ will tell you, I failed miserably as an NFL guy, but I still played 7 years of pro ball. I don't have 3 hours of sleep in my life at one time or more. I get up every 3 hours. Shoulder, arm, knee, broken every foot, hand, everything. Would you do it again? Absolutely. This is part of it. Okay? Part of it. Hey, man. Hey, Philly. That's more true than you know. Andre Waters didn't have a very big, you couldn't goof around with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't make fun of something because he would think you were attacking him. What do you mean? You're like, there's certain guys you don't do that shit to. He's one of them. You couldn't you knew not to, I'll say it, you knew not to F with him. You just knew not to do that because he would love you, still throw hands at you and hug you later, start crying. He's a really wild dude, man. I loved him to death. I absolutely did. Andre Waters was a maniac, man. But I dug him. He was just an eccentric dude. Okay? An eccentric dude. Man. So what the Cosmo goes, the decision you'd make. I would, if he's healthy, I'd bring him back. I'd bring him back if he's healthy. CTE is a horrible thing, man. I told you before about the Junior Seau. Brother, how you doing? This guy was psychotic too, man. So he plays with the Dolphins, and Dave wants that. Dave wants that, goes, hey, Junior Seau wants to meet you. I'm like, all right. Dan, can you get me into Miami Complex? Sure, let's go over there. So I take him over. Dan, can you get me to meet Pat Riley? Let's go see Pat. We go see Pat. Hey, can you get me over to the Panthers? And he would do these things. And you know what he did to me one time? Seau gets me into this. What is that thing? The miracle where like the kid's got like 3 years or 3 months to live. And I didn't know it. This kid was such a great kid. What's that thing called? He got me involved in this. And I was so like, I didn't know what the hell it was about. And this kid had 3 months to live. And Make-A-Wish, thank you, Yale. It was a Make-A-Wish Foundation. I had no idea what a Make-A-Wish Foundation was. And we got this kid. We're taking him around. We're going like to Dolphins. We're taking him over to see Dave and all the Miami Dolphin guys, taking him to the Canes. We took him everywhere. I talked to Junior Seau like about a month later. I go, hey, man, how's Steve doing? Oh, he passed away. I'm like, what? He goes, don't you know what Make-A-Wish Foundation is? It's to give the last wish to a kid and a dying kid. Don't have me do that again. I could not believe. I was so devastated. I couldn't believe it. Kudos to you guys. And he did that stuff, and he was such a great. And then when his mom called and all those guys told me that he had shot himself, CTE, man. And that's what Jason Kelce's talking about. He doesn't want to be that guy. Okay? Like when Daryl Talley called me, he was in tears. Sills, we lost Seau. I'm like, what? I just talked to him. He used to play the bongos and used to do this. Hey, brother. And we used to always tell him, stop playing the bongo. Stop playing the banjo. You're not good at it. And he'd be like, hello, brother. Hello, brother. And we're going like, dude, you suck at this. Funny dude, man. Funny dude. All right. We're going to reset. Want you to hit the like button. Power Hour coming up. Tomorrow, I believe we are getting Craig Carton on. Craig told me he's either Thursday or Friday. I know for a fact that Mike Golick, he just texted me, he is also coming on. Everybody's at the combines right now. That's why it's been light on guest a little bit. You know me, Big Sills, sitting there trolling around all day long. So we were glad to get Tom Thayer on early. So we're going to do that. Also, Jared Bell from USA Today is going to be with us on Friday. So we will talk with him. Power Hour coming up. Please hit the like button. We will reset. Keep it here, National Football Show.